Idiots are invincible. The foolproof row method to handle them, solve problems, and enjoy the process. By Dr. Angelos Rodafinos. The end. I think the most unfair thing about life is the way it ends. I mean, life is tough. It takes up a lot of your time. What do you get at the end of it? A death. What is that? A bonus. I think the life cycle is all backwards. You should die first, get it out of the way. Then you live in an old age home. You get kicked out when you're too young, you get a gold watch, you go to work. You work for 40 years until you're young enough to enjoy your retirement. You go to college, you do drugs, alcohol, you party, you have sex, you get ready for high school. You go to grade school, you become a kid, you play, you have no responsibilities, you become a little baby, you go back into the womb, you spend your last 9 months floating. You finish off as a gleam in somebody's eye. Sean Morey, Reverse Cycle Life. What a nice way to start, from the end. Kind of unusual for a book. But this is an unusual book, for unusual people. I am confident that its content will mark the end of a period in your life and the beginning of another, becoming an important aid in reducing negative thoughts and emotions, and living healthier and happier. Now, off we go. Story, Some Escape. On a cold and rainy winter's afternoon at an airport, a 12-year-old boy observed several passengers at an airport, waiting for an update on their flight, which was delayed. They looked worn out and glum. "How come those people look so tired?" he asked his father. "Perhaps because adult life is tough," replied the father. "You mean I will also become like that when I grow up?" the 12-year-old asked. Taking a minute to think, his father responded. "Some people manage to escape." "Who manages to escape? What kind of coping strategies do people implement when faced with life's challenges? Why is it that some individuals never seem to be able to cope while some others appear to encounter less adversity in their lives?" These are the questions that intrigued several distinguished researchers, including Paul Stoltz, the University of Pennsylvania professor who shared the previous story, and, of course, myself. To begin to answer these questions, though, the first thing is really to understand, well, how you are doing. How are you doing? When asked this question, participants at my lectures and workshops are unenthusiastic. Many of them sound very frustrated. A usual response is, blah, I am always on the run, no time, too much stress. As the conversation starts rolling, questions arise. What is stress? Is it normal? Can stress be useful? What are the health consequences of excessive stress? I don't have stress. Is this dangerous? To find answers to all these questions, you will have to read the following chapters. To get us started, though, I will answer just a couple, selectively, right here. The first thing to know about stress is that many people believe that feeling stressed day and night is the natural state of life. This is not true. Excessive stress may be common but is not healthy. Negative emotions produce hormones that affect our body and, in the long term, our health and well-being. Too little stress, on the other hand, may also be harmful. When I ask, who in this group thinks has the most problems to deal with, most individuals put their hands up, they think it is them. Here are some more brief answers/teasers to frequently asked questions. Question: Are there some lucky individuals who were born with superior resistance to stress? Is it possible to be entirely insensitive? What can one do to reduce, or increase, stress? Answer: yes. No. A lot. Question: If I read this book, will I be able to get rid of stress for good? Okay, I will answer this one as well, for the sake of marketing the book. I guess the answer is like the one for the question: if I take a bath, will I smell nice forever, or if I eat a lot, will I feel hungry again? The reduction, or rather, the management of stress needs to be a continuous, lifelong process. Question: what's in it for me if I reduce stress? Answer: the benefits of stress management include, among other things, better interpersonal relationships, a more efficient immune system and fewer diseases, a pleasant and more satisfying life, and making a significant step towards the realization of your potential. Isn't it strange? When we have a headache or a stomachache, we share our problem with everyone around, visit the doctor, follow the prescription, try alternative or complementary medicine, we even follow the advice of quacks. Note: alternative or complementary medicine are therapies whose effectiveness has not been proven experimentally, under well-planned and controlled conditions. Otherwise, we would have classified them as medicine. On the other hand, when we suffer from excessive stress or are dissatisfied with our work, our relationships, or our lives, all we do is complain to those people who are unable to help us to resolve our issues. At the same time, there is so much talk about stress daily without anyone ever saying enough. I sincerely hope that the content of this book will become a significant aid for the rest of your life. In this relatively simplified manual, I have tried to summarize a series of theories and techniques alongside several everyday serious and funny applications. I have, as much as possible, avoided numerous references and academic citations to scientific studies. My goal is that everyone should understand the material. However, I assure you that most of what you are about to read is cross-referenced, with evidence and results from legitimate scientific research, apart, perhaps, from the folk wisdom that stems from the short tales cited. These proffer a common knowledge that has been available through the ages. Question: do you practice what you preach? Answer: I was a champion at 15, a champion warrior. By that age, I had already received extensive training. My parents were champions too. The Greeks have an outstanding national worry team. Unfortunately, worrying never became an Olympic event. Do this, don't do that, you haven't eaten enough, wear this, watch out, you'll hurt yourself, be careful, you'll catch a cold. That lasted for years. I went through the first 24 years of my life with no idea about the psychological theories and applications described in the following chapters. I certainly wish I had been exposed to them earlier. My life has improved a lot since I read and mastered the related materials. Yet, when I am under pressure, I often neglect to apply the theory. But it certainly has made a significant difference in the way I perceive the world and how I deal with challenges. Spider-Man, are you going out? Yes, Mom. Put your robe on, you will catch a cold. How our mind runs. Al-Erder was an American athlete. He won 4 consecutive Olympic gold medals in the discus throw and was in top physical condition for at least 16 years. According to Dr. Dennis Waitley, when he was in his 40s, Al made the following statement: "By the time I realized that success is 90% the result for how our mind runs and 10% the result of how we run, I already had the body of a senior citizen. Oh, if only I could be young again, if I could have had this knowledge earlier in my life." We need to train our mind much like we practice and train our body. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, the single reading of a book or a week of practice may not suffice to learn to apply all the good ideas that you will read about. They must become habits and part of your way of life. You also need to hang out with the right people, those who will help you stay on the straight and narrow when things get tough. Because, while I cannot warranty that things will always run smooth, I can warranty that there will be setbacks. Some of you may well wonder, is that true? Can we learn psychological skills to feel better when things are not the way we would like them to be? I am confident that you will learn several valuable techniques and enjoy this reading. Go ahead, turn the pages, and flick through the book for a brief preview. No, do not read the end yet. For some reason, a lot of readers, including me, do that. See if you can exercise self-control and resist the impulse. The way forward. This abridged version of the full book includes 2 parts. Part 1, A Little Theory. In the first part I define stress, refer to the common sources of stress, which include the idiots in our life, and discuss whether personality traits are related to the way individuals perceive and experience stress. Then, I make the distinction between healthy and unhealthy responses to stress and present the basic principles of stress management. This section introduces the ROE method, a simple, yet sophisticated problem-solving formula that can help you deal with annoying people, situations, and your own thoughts. It is a dependable and foolproof method that you can apply to any type of problem you are facing today or may face in the future. Note, any similarities with the renowned R20 problem-solving method, Russian 20-year-old, mail-order bride, is purely coincidental. Part 2, A Day in the Life of Don Stresset. Part 2 of the book recounts a day in the life of Don Stresset, a modern-day Don Quixote. The hero, who has just finished reading the theoretical section and is, therefore, a proud graduate of the ROE method, attempts to apply what he has learned, from the moment he wakes up to the moment he returns home exhausted. Armed with courage and stoicism, Don confronts the monsters and the dragons, the idiots, of the 21st century, his partner who got to the toilet first and is now studying Rodafino's book insensitive to the needs of others, the chubby guy in the tiny European lift who squeezes him into the corner, the traffic, his stupid boss, the disgruntled and impervious client, as well as the most problematic person of all, himself and his irrational expectations. Note, the word idiot used to have a completely different meaning. Idiotus in ancient Athens was someone who was self-centered and lacked concern for public affairs. In the present book, the term does not refer to the mentally retarded, but rather to those who are acting in a self-defeating or counterproductive way, are incapable of reasoning that their actions may affect or harm others, or those who simply do not care about others. Don differs from other mere mortals, thanks to his humor, his determination and commitment, his carefully designed plan of action on how to deal with minor annoyances and major upsets. When he wakes up every morning, Don reminds himself, "I won't let any idiot ruin my day, because this is my day." Don's ability to maintain the appropriate distance from every problem is of the utmost importance. He can put things into perspective, offering every event the necessary attention and nothing more. All this takes place in the second part of the book. By that time, readers of the full version will understand A, why they have read several hundred pages of this book, B, who they really are, and C, what they are doing on this planet. They will also find the answers to several other philosophical and metaphysical questions. Let us begin.